Well, we have a fantastic panel this evening. Before I get to an explainer of what exactly this was all about, I'd like to introduce my panel. Captain D.K. Sharma, the spokesperson of the Indian Navy, with me in the studio. Captain Dilip Donde is the mentor of Abhilash and he's a retired Navy captain. He joins us from Goa. Ratnakar Dandekar is the builder of the boat, and we are very privileged to have Rear Admiral Raja Menon, a very experienced senior officer of the Indian Navy who has served for many decades in the past out there at sea. But before I go to them, let's put this in perspective, because this is what is really important. Why was this operation so difficult? It was difficult because of the location. Let's bring this map up on the screen and let's show you why exactly it was so difficult. Let's have that map on full screen so that we can explain to our viewers just some of the distances over there. From Chennai all the way down south to where the boat was stranded was approximately 4,000 kilometers. All right, 4,000 kilometers was the approximate distance. It was 3,111 kilometers, more than that, from Port Louis in Mauritius to where the boat was. And from India, 5,444 kilometers from India, 4,000 kilometers from Perth. In simple terms, Commander Abhilash Tomy was stuck in the middle of the South Indian Ocean in a part of the world which is uncharted. Largely, very little actually exists over there in terms of boating or shipping, and there are very few islands as well. Let's bring you the second explainer over here, and this actually has to do with Commander Tomy's pleas for help when he nearly died a couple of days back. Now, this is in order, but his most recent messages first. He wasn't able to get water. How did he survive? He sent a message on SMS in that emergency kit, lugged cans of iced tea, having that, vomiting continuously, chest burning. Before that, he says, activated EPIRB, that was his emergency communications kit, cannot walk, might need stretcher. Can move toes, but feel numb, can't eat or drink, tough to reach grab bag. That grab bag, very important. It had his backup communication devices. He could never reach it. Activated EPIRB, extremely difficult to walk, might need stretcher, cannot walk. Thanks, safe inside the boat, unable to reach the second YB3. That's also communication equipment or anything. The sat phone is down. And the first message, this is the one that was really frightening, on Friday, rolled, dismasted, severe back injury, cannot get up. This is what Commander Abhilash Tomy had to face. Captain Sharma, how was this an incredible international effort to save this one sailor?
Good evening, Vishnu, and good evening, the viewers. First of all, I must put it on record that whatever has happened, the international effort which went in, we are truly indebted to all the stakeholders, all the players which joined in, which especially involves the MRCC, Australia MRCC, Mauritius, JRC, Royal Australian Navy, and not forgetting the French fisheries vessel Orisis. Now, coming back to this, once we came to know and once Tomy pressed the button, the SOS, the action started and all the players who could be there were mustered, and they automatically mustered. Sending the ships from India.
Yep.
There were 2 ships mission deployed, which were diverted immediately. PHI, which operates from south of India, that is Arconam, was moved within 4 hours.
Yes.
She went to Mauritius, turned around, and you see all this is happening on 22nd.
Yes.
21st, the accident or the incident took place. 22nd morning, after the briefings, they were sent to Mauritius. They had a turnaround of few hours, and 23rd morning, 0200 hours, they were again airborne. for a place to look for Tomy, and they visually established contact, they have sent the videos, and everything was known, and then started how to reach him. Then fortunately we had this French vessel Orisis, which was somewhere in the area, which was also directed by the MRCC and Joint Rescue Center. The Australian Navy also dispatched their Ballarat, that is HMAS Ballarat, the frigate, and also Indian Navy had diverted. So this is the kind of coordination which was going on behind the scene.
All right. Captain Dilip Donde, you are the mentor of Abhilash Tomy. Now, there's been, as Captain Sharma said, this incredible effort, sailors from around the world or in that region, that's a huge, huge region, reaching out to the young Indian sailor. But at the end of the day, how was this about his mental strength?
Well, he got caught in a, like you described, he was literally into the middle of nowhere. And he had to face that for the next 3 days till rescue arrived at him. And yeah, you need mental strength to you continue and keep your sort of sanity and make sure that you ask for help and wait for it. It's very difficult to wait for you know, in a closed boat which is rolling violently. And he's managed to do that.
And sir, you, Captain Donde, have also sailed extensively in small boats. Tell us a little bit about the entire business of hunkering down when the going gets tough and knowing that there is nobody out there to necessarily help you. In a situation like that, how do you not panic?
Well, when you get into it, you know what you're going to get into. And when the situation becomes like that, you really have not left yourself with any choice. So you just grin and bear it and do it. I mean, that's part of the game. That's why so few people sail solo around the world.
Admiral Menon, you know, in simple terms for our viewers, talk about sea states, and I'll tell you what the condition was on Friday when his boat rolled and he was demasted, the mast broke. 130 km/h winds and waves of between 18 to 20 feet at the very least. For our viewers, in simple terms, how bad was this?
Sailing around the world is one of the greatest adventures that man can undertake. And sailing alone around the world requires such sustained courage and grim determination. I have been in those latitudes. The reason why the boats sail in those latitudes is that there is no land at 40 degrees south. But unfortunately, the waves are unbroken and continue at, well, 20 feet is nothing actually. They really go up to about 40 feet.
And what about the wind, sir? A wind at 130 km/h. How much of a factor would that be, sir?
Yeah, that's a great factor. I mean, you practically have to take off all your sails, and even the pressure of the wind on the mast is enough to propel the boat sometimes.
Okay, Ratnakar Dandekar,
the waves are thundering past at 30 knots.
Right. Ratnakar Dandekar, you built the boat. At the end of the day, she proved to be unbelievably resilient. She was dismasted, but she didn't go over. I mean, she may have rolled, but she was righted one way or the other. Tell us a little bit about the boat you built.
The boat actually is strong enough to take any kind of sea. It's supposed to be self-righting. That means if it rolls over, it has to come back on its keel. So it's designed, the design is such, and we build it to spec, so we make it a bit heavier at the bottom. So if she rolls over, she can come back. It's one of the most dangerous things when you roll over or capsizes, if you still remain with your deck down, so that the sailor gets trapped inside. But in this kind of boat, you can be inside the boat and safe once your mast and sail are off you.
And in this situation, sir, the boat was dismasted. What would be some of the conditions when this took place? Is it possible that the boat actually rolled completely, or would you say she rolled to one side, the mast went under the water, and that the drag of the waves actually, dismasted the boat? Or do you think, what do you believe could have happened?
At the time when she rolled over 360 degrees. That is what I get from the race organizers. The wave height at that point was 15 meters and the wind speed 70 knots. So the boat's total length is 10 meters. So it's like the boat would have been lifted on the wave, and since the wave has a rolling action, it would have been rolled over 360 degrees, maybe once or even twice. So the conditions were something which are very freaky at that time. There have never been such conditions for a long time now in that area also. That's what the African weather guys told us.
Right.
So,
okay.
the
Captain
wave rolling
Sharma,
action can do it.
Yeah.
Captain Sharma, what's his condition now?
Vishnu, I was fortunate enough to talk to the captain of Odysseus, and he said that Tomy is doing well. When he was rescued, he has had food, water, and then he was given some medication, primarily the painkillers till the time the doctors, or he doesn't reach the doctors. And now they are both, Gregor and Tomy, both have been rescued. And
okay, so just tell our viewers about Gregor. He's an Irish sailor, right?
He's an Irish
on
sailor.
another boat. Yeah,
he also suffered the same thing. His boat also suffered the same thing, and his boat also, the mast is also dismasted. So what they are saying is that at that time, what we gather, the height of the wave was almost around 40 to 45 feet.
Right.
And Vishnu, that is not less. It is like a mountain or coming onto you. And that is how it has happened. And fortunate enough that the boat rolled 360, or what they say, and then after the mast broke, at least the boat became even keel. And that is the time I suspect when Tomy would have been thrown, and that is how he got this injury, such a grievous injury.
Captain, what are you going to do now? I mean, he's on this fisheries boat. Where is it going?
Vishnu, now the boat is heading towards the Isle Amsterdam, which is from the location around 100.
Let's bring up that map once again. Let's bring up that map as Captain Sharma speaks. Go ahead, Captain.
So it's around 180 kilometers as we measure it on the ground, and we have been told that there is a doctor as well as a medical care center. So once tomorrow morning, early morning, the boat reaches over there, both these gentlemen will be disembarked and then will be handed over to the doctor over there. In the meantime, Ballarat is also coming, Satpura is also coming. So the plan is, seeing his condition, the next step will be taken tomorrow morning. The plan right now is, if more grievous, Satpura takes him to Mauritius, which is just about 16800 nautical miles, and then airlifted to India. Or if he is fine, then we undertake the passage on board Satpura and bring him to India, and once closer to the shore, we airlift him to the best hospital.
All right. Captain Donde, did you, as you were following this, at some stage, believe that, it was all over? That given the condition of the seas over there, even after the storm actually blew over, that what Tomy was encountering was something that he may not survive?
No, never. I was confident that he will come back in one piece and hale and hearty.
What makes you so sure? Tell us a little bit about Abhilash Tomy.
What makes me so sure? I worked with him for more than 9 years now, very closely, and we sailed together in pretty rough seas. And he is an experienced sailor. He's one of the most experienced solo ocean sailor in the country. He's done one solo non-stop circumnavigation, and knowing him so well, I was absolutely confident that he'll come back alive.
All right, Admiral Menon. In fact, before I go back to Admiral Menon, Captain Sharma.
Yeah.
The captain of INS Satpura, that's the Indian frigate deployed to try and rescue Tomy. Of course, he has been rescued, but that ship is going to rendezvous with Tomy perhaps at some stage. The captain of that ship has lost his father while he was deployed on this mission, and yet he is bashing on to try and save his man. I mean, Tomy has been saved, but what does it say about the spirit of the commander of another ship?
Vishnu, we are all meant to do that. We don't look back. Once we are in service, once we don the uniform, it is the service which comes before self. And that is what he has proved. And you will find it every day or the other, something or the other happens. We don't look back towards our personal front. Service always comes first. And that is what he has proved.
Admiral Menon, another huge aspect of this was the Maritime Reconnaissance aircraft of the Indian Navy. And it has to be said that the Australians deployed Maritime Reconnaissance aircraft of their own. But the ranges would have been extreme. These aircraft were all at the edge of their endurance. That means they could have flown, in the case of the Indian Navy, from Mauritius to this area. They would have had very little time on station and then gone back. But how was the aerial element so important in this entire rescue?
To get to the site is the most important thing. I mean, the aircraft itself can't physically do anything, but just the sight of the aircraft to Tomy would have been such a great morale booster that it would have kept him going. These P-8s have been a great acquisition.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank all of you very, very much for joining us. All's well that ends well. Abhilash Tomy is safe after 3 harrowing days out at sea in some of the most remote parts of our planet. It's been an incredible journey of courage, but also an incredible international effort in the finest traditions of maritime culture, of navies working together, and of sailors working to try and save each other's lives in a situation where there is distress. I'd like to thank you all very much for joining us.
Thank you.